It's 1:15 and I'm supposed to, I'd start 1:31.
Hey, he told us to come.
So go ahead, clock management, what's that mean?
So, I mean, like I said earlier, it can be your enemy, it can be your friend. In a situation, yellow card for the last 2 seconds of the game, I stop the clock. 2 red cards and another yellow card later, we ended the game.
Right? So was it your friend or your enemy?
My enemy.
Enemy, all right? We like to have the clock management, the utilization of the clock to be our friend, okay? So we all have training in a different federation, and then we come to high school and college games, and it's totally different how we utilize that clock, right? And so those are some of the obstacles as we jump into college games that we have to understand. Being a former college player, a former college coach, clock management sometimes was my worst enemy, especially if you didn't have a good team. So differences between the FIFA game and the college game, right? How do we handle those differences? Or do we not handle them at all, right? And you'll see in some of the clips, sometimes we don't manage them and it works out in our benefit, right? Raise your hand if you've seen this in your game. Higher. Those that keep it up. Those that have it, was it leave your hand if it was a good game, leave your hand up, or if it was a bad game and this happened, put your hand down. Awesome, right? This is why we, both, this is why we do this. This is why players play. This stuff happens, right? This stuff happens. It's not made up. It actually happens. I was in a game where we scored 2 seconds left. Keeper goes to get it right between his legs. New game, overtime. As a coach, there are a lot of things that I do differently based on score and time. We have to understand that as officials. How do we understand that? Who helps us do that? There's tools that we're going to go through this real quick. There's tools and keys that help you identify when we're able to do this. In a little quote, because this does happen, you could work your butt off, you and your crew, 89 minutes. And what are you remembered for? Right? What are you remembered for? What are the phone calls going to your assigner about this last 10 seconds, this last minute of the game? So in the college game with that crazy clock that everybody can see, which might be going away, is it meaningful at the end of the game? Always? How about a road team puts a goal in the 50th minute? Hey, we're not supposed to win in your place. Let's slow the game down, right? We all see it. Like, hey, we're going to sneak out. We're going to sneak one out here, right? How do we identify those? Is it in the 50th minute, and then do we recognize that at the 70th minute that they've been wasting time for 20 minutes, and we just caught it? We are just understanding it 20 minutes later. And guess what? The intensity of the match 20 minutes later is totally different. Then we wonder, how did it get there? Sometimes it doesn't happen at the end of the game with the clock. Sometimes what we do and how we manage the clock are based off of what do the players want or expect. And we'll see this in some of the clips. The differences in different games of what our customers want or expect. I love working inside the gray area. There's a lot of gray area in this and how we manage this. Really good comment earlier is how we manage and talk to the coach either helps or hurts what comes onto the field, right? Being able to understand how we utilize this clock so everybody's happy, everybody feels that they're getting a fair shake, helps us later. Very important. How do your teammates help you identify this? When do your teammates help you? The AR and fourth official, 4 guys start warming up, and then the coach is like, hey, you go first. A minute later, you go. A minute later, you go. Is that prudent information that the referee needs to understand? And if the referee is being tasked with, I've already given 5 yellow cards, and then I'm already looking at number 17 that's already got 1 yellow card, he's really going to get a 2nd yellow card. And then number 13, the one that he's playing against, he's already sitting on a card, and he's looking to get another card. Oh, yeah, they're going up subbing 1 at a time also. Is the referee going to understand that they're being tasked with all this? I need my teammates to help me understand that this is happening, right? So it's very important that our teammates are helping out as well and identifying. And then that comes with the comms. It comes when we don't have the comms. How do we communicate that to our teammates? So just really quick, I went through the rule book, and these are all, you don't have to write this down, but these are all the places inside the NCAA rule book that help us utilize this gray area, right? And if you know me, I'm a really good rule guy. All right. So the fun stuff. We went through the rules real quick.
To add to it.
Is this what we want to see?
That's a big interception there by Shalom. Player coming into the far post. He just got himself ahead of the centre back and was probably about to sweep that in for number 5.
And that was Dali, and now an opportunity to take some more time off as they're going to switch men to take this corner. Maybe strategically, we're down to 3 minutes.
20 seconds.
Better that time.
Well-defended corner by Liberty.
Kind of 80s.
Raise your hand if you're good with 20 seconds on that play.
Quick 1 minute. Yeah, I was tired.
You're tired? Raise your hand if you're not happy with that. Okay. Do it again.
Add to it.
Watch the white players. Tell me if they're happy or not happy.
Player coming into the far post. He just got himself ahead of the centre back and was probably about to sweep that in for number 5.
And that was Dali, and now an opportunity to take some more time off as they're going to switch men to take this corner.
Pretty relaxed.
Maybe strategically.
They don't care. They're good. Right? So half of us had our hand up that we think this is not good. What do our customers want? They're good.
Sounds to me like our customers in white want to get the hell out of it.
Right? Can we speed it up? How many times have we had that? Come on, ref, just keep it going. Just keep it going. Right? So in this, half of our hands are up, but we're understanding what our customers' needs and wants are in this particular instance. Got to watch this one real quick. Okay? There's a lot of juicy stuff in this. So, the white team is winning. Had to do a little bit of research 2 years ago. Look at the box score. Make sure everything is right, how I think it is, but I verified everything. I'm going to play it again. Watch where the ball comes from. As soon as the ball is into the frame. See where the ball comes from. Who's that guy in the gray? Okay, so I'm the other coach. Does that make me happy to see the other coach that's winning throw the ball out to the field when my guy is standing right next to you? My guy is standing right next to you. Does that make me happy? It's disrespect for me as a coach. You're disrespecting me and my team, right? Now, what are the reactions of the players? Okay? But we have to understand that. We have to understand that that could lead to something. Does it here? No, right? The great thing is they even got the ball boy paid off, right? I mean, this is great. Look at the ball boy. It's like teamwork, man. The white player doesn't want to touch the ball, and he's like, no, hold on. Let me stand right in front of you. You can't throw this. Okay, cool. He's getting paid 12 instead of 10, the ball boy.
Number 2 took his time also. He was in no rush.
Right. You know? Any questions? It's going to get juicier. All right, I think this is 2 clips. We're going to watch the whole thing. I think we're going to compare these 2. I think.
With control, he'll lay it off for Harrison. This one will work its way out of bounds. There'll be a throw in for Gardner Webb.
Came from home.
White team's losing. White team gets booked. White team's head coach gets booked. What are they getting booked for?
Wasting time.
Wasting time.
But the white team's losing.
The white team's losing.
Why don't we get books on your stop clock?
That's one thing that was complaining.
Right?
Complaining, so you get your card and you stop the clock.
Do we know that they're hurt or not hurt? Raise your hand if you're a medical person in here. Are you a medical person when you're refereeing? Okay. Right? So we have time management, injury, gamesmanship, all in this play. Right? What are we here for? Safety of players?
Like he said, we're not doctors. Don't try to be it. If you're going to err which way.
So in this situation, so the first clip, team's winning, they have an injury, and that guy that was running from across the field is the sub for the injury. Running, and they're winning. Right? I looked at the box score and everything. That's the winning team with an injury. He's hurt. The guy runs from the sub down, and then the guy that's hurt comes right off the pitch. They're doing what we want them to do in the first clip. Time wasting in the last 5 minutes, I believe, was four years ago, put in there, that we keep the clock running. 3, we keep the clock running. But there's no wrong or right answer to all these. These are situational things that we have, as a crew, have to understand that are happening. Right? We have to have an understanding that this is actually happening. Now, how we deal with it is based on the information that we get from our teammates and how does it fit in with what our customers' wants and needs are.
He's going to get inside, thought about shooting, does. Bell makes the save and covers the rebound as Tucker DeBone was sniffing around. He clips the keeper. And Bone gets a yellow, and it's a well.
2-1 game. Air Force and somebody. 4 minutes left. The losing goalkeeper receives the ball. What do you think he was looking to do? He was ready to go. We interfered. Is this one we can talk ourselves out of? And does anybody want to talk themselves out of this one? And say, hey, we're good, keeper. You got the ball. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Let's go. You got the time. Let's go. You got it? All right. How much harder do we have to work as a crew if we don't deal with this? A lot harder. A lot harder.
Don't go looking for a reason not to do the right thing in the game. Don't use the considerations to sell yourself out of giving a card.
Absolutely. Let's do our job. Let's do our job. If we watch the end of this clip, the rest of this clip, because of this decision, these other decisions are easier for the crew. See if I can do this right. Nope. And we almost have retaliation from the keeper if it's not addressed.
Was sniffing around. He clips the keeper. Bone gets a yellow, and it's a well-deserved yellow as he tripped Detroit Bell from behind and stopped the counter.
Chris kind of touched on this a little bit in his presentation. Look how much time. Look at the referee's demeanor. Slowing down. The clock is stopped. I'm not in a huge rush. Right? Let oxygen come into these young people's bodies so it can go to their brain. Right? And we have a couple harder decisions, or not harder, but a couple decisions after this that could go either way. But knowing that it was dealt with accordingly at the beginning might have helped these two other situations. Maybe. We don't know that, right? That's why we ref every day.
He's going to try and push forward. Does. Yanked from behind, but no call. It'll be Air Force's ball.
And the announcers are most of the time right.
Sharon was fouled before that, and they get away with it. He was.
Takes it to the corner.
It's a good clip.
Back there by Russell. Ball up at a play. Throw in with 4 minutes left.
Look at the referee's position, right?
Here's Charles back to Engberg. Gray just flicks it up ahead. And no chance for Bryant back there. George Gill couldn't get to it.
There's a coach. We're going to run number 3 instead of 17. Yeah, we're going to put in our designated kicker. So, referee, really good position on the beginning of it that leads them down to the corner, right? Coffin corner, something could happen in the corner. Referee takes off, leads them down there. Restart goes out, comes back in. Restart comes out, then back in, and then defender tries to save it on the goal line, goes out for a corner kick. As soon as they go to switch kickers, stop the clock. Did we need a card? Could we give a card? If our customers really, really wanted it, right? It's by the NCAA rule book, we could. Referee did a really good job to manage that situation. and understood what was going on.
They got a nice cross out of it. So, but the ball keeps going up right there.
Somebody's going to pick this one. Who's going to be?
Up in the air, it's not to your
Who's going to have the courage?
Bring the ball down to your feet. Andre Durant doing whatever he can to waste a little bit of clock. Goes back, gets some water. Referee signaling for him to hurry up. 2:05 left in the second half. Basaru Sarr will get it to Alex Juarez. Juarez.
Anybody want to talk? We good with it? What do you got?
Just use your voice and your presence, your whistle. I don't think there's any reason for a card. I mean, if this is an isolated incident, now if the keeper's been doing it for the last 48 minutes of the first half, then we probably should deal with it differently. But if this is an isolated incident, hey, come on, keeper, let's go.
Yep.
Tweet, let's go. And then set him up. Tee him up for that caution.
Oh, hey, how do you set somebody up?
I'm just saying, like.
No.
Hey,
Absolutely.
Hey, come on. Do a run by. Second time, make it big. Third time, hey, man, I warned you twice.
So now when I book him on the third time, am I the bad guy?
No.
Does everybody know he's been or she's been set up? Absolutely. Right? Oh, I'm too far. I'm a couple minutes late. Understanding when this gamesmanship, this clock management, and how we handle it doesn't mean that we have to do something about it immediately. Sometimes once we identify, we can have communication with players. How many times do we have communication with players and this is all they get? Hey, enough. You, no more. Right? Every time we communicate with them, it's like, God, man, get away from me, man. That's what my mom does at home. Right? How many times, hey, good shot. We build relationships. Once we build those relationships with these players, these are the moments, once we identify that this is happening, that we go to those relationships that we've established through the match to help us. Hey, remember we had that talk? Hey, talk to your team. They're wasting time, right? I don't want to stop the clock. Nice shoes, right? This is once we establish those relationships with these players that there's a reason why we're establishing these relationships. There's a reason for it. This is one, you do it. When to stop, when not to stop, when to yellow card, no yellow card. When do my teammates help me? When do I feel that my teammate needs my help? Right? These are all things that we have to, in any position that we're in. The fourth official, AR1, AR2, the referee, looking at the crew and saying, hey, they're wasting time, help me out. Right? These are things that that make our team stronger, make us look like a team, right? And these are very, very small, minute details. But at the end of the game, these details matter, right? They matter. Everybody remembers the end of the game. Nobody remembers the beginning. Everybody remembers the end. And this is when the craziness happens, is at the end. And found this other quote I thought was pretty cool. Little things. I've been in a tent with a mosquito. It's not nice. Any questions? Yep.
Bottom line for me when we were stopping the clock late in the game is, with the question whether we have to give a yellow card to stop that clock. Because if you stop the clock on a free kick where the ball's bouncing around, there's 10 seconds left, 18-yard box, everybody's, or the wall is holding the ball up and there's 10 seconds. That's what we need to know. That's a crucial time of the game, what we need to know to do.
Can anybody answer that?
Couldn't hear it.
Stand up and say it again.
It's only 30
No, this is it.
game. Let's say it's on the 18, there's going to be the last second shot to tie the game, win the game, whatever. And the wall is encroaching. So now we have to, and we can stop the clock. That's not an issue. If you do stop the clock.
Okay, so we rewind. So they're coming together. Okay, all of a sudden, 10 seconds left. Does it matter where on the field they're at?
Sure.
Okay, so depending on the field, where they're at on the field, depending who has the ball, depending who's winning or losing, all of a sudden the hair, I don't have a lot of hair on my back, but it stands up, right? And then I'm like, oh no, something's about to happen. So I'm already thinking that this could happen, right? This is what, I'm already thinking that it should happen. Then I have to utilize, what do my customers want? What does the game need? What's fair, right? I don't have that answer for you, right? This is why we're all in this room. This is why we all come here, so we can gain this knowledge, utilize our teammates, go back home, and live these, talk to them with our teammates afterwards. How did we do? Could have been better? How do we make it better, right? This next clip is food for thought, 45-minute discussion. Is that your question? That play right there? Those couple plays? And you know what? You get a lot of knowledgeable people, and here's one of them.
So this is the problem with clock management, and one referee will stop the clock on this, and the other referee in the next game, similar play, won't. And there seems to be no consistency or direction from NCAA, Ryan, to give some guidelines as to there's no encroachment, there's no effort by the defensive team to delay the restart, but the foul has happened in regulation time and the clock runs out before they can take the free kick. That's not right.
So, if this was a FIFA game, what would we do?
You extend the time.
Right?
But if the referee
but it's not.
But if the referee stops the clock in this instant and there's been no obvious reason because the defensive team is delaying or the ball's not anywhere near to the spot of the foul, then it's all on the referee if the goal is scored. And he has no defense to say, you know, that I followed the letter of the law because it's not in the law.
The good thing is that's what Ryan's changing, right? It's tabled. Yeah, one more.
You probably need to give the other team a yellow for that foul because it's a tactical foul.
Okay, on that, I heard you. You said you could stop the clock there and give a yellow card. But what if it's a simple foul?
Then the game ends. The game's supposed to end by the as soon as a rolling.
Huh? Go ahead, yeah. Luckily, we have the referee.
Here he comes.
We have
something in writing.
So, what Dr. Joe was saying, obviously, this is me. This was the national final, women's Division I final this year. Okay, we see the score, Florida State 1-0. We're seeing time running down, okay? And as Dr. Joe pointed out, that's what was going through my head. I'm looking for I am looking for a reason to stop the clock, but they're not giving me a reason to stop the clock. Okay? So I'm going to walk it through. So the first time, there's about 45 seconds left. And I know how much time is left because I'm aware of this. And I know they're going to be able to get this kick off without any issues. Okay? But I'm also there to manage any encroachment. I stay there. She wants the clock stopped. I'm there just to make sure that the Florida State player retreats, and then once they get the ball spotted, I back out of there. And I try to get into a good position where I think the drop zone is going to be. Now, obviously, I can't foresee the future, that a second foul is going to happen. So when a second foul occurred here, in my mind, it was a careless foul. Careless foul. Okay? So I'm also watching the Florida State player who started to go towards the ball, because if she had touched the ball, I was going to stop the clock immediately. And I thought she was going to give me my out, and she didn't. North Carolina, I mean, maybe it's different from what Ryan heard, but the players didn't care. They didn't show me any sense of dissent or clock or any of that on the last part. Now, we can debate that foul, and we're not going to today because we have a busy day. That last foul is being careless or reckless. The only way I could have stopped that clock is if I would have judged that foul as being reckless, and then I would have given the caution.
If they come to set, do you stop it?
North Carolina? No, because that happened to me in 2015 final. I can't catch a break on these. So the thing is, you, like Ben was saying too, is you have to be aware that these things could happen. I call it my spidey sense. My spidey sense has to be alert that we're at the end of the game. This is where we make our money, because this is where the coaches and the players remember us. Okay? So all these things need to be going through your head towards the end of the game, especially when we've had a highly contested match like this. So this, to me, I told Ben he should show this because this is a great teaching moment.
I set him up too.
He set me up for this too. It's a great teaching moment.
I mean, you just said, I can't catch a break on these. And this is a high-level game with a high-level referee. This happens all the time at college soccer, and is a major point of controversy with clock management that's not being addressed.
Absolutely. And I wish I had an answer. One more? Last question in the back, and then boss says we're done.
Yeah, because of the situation, keeping that in mind, and where it is in the field and how much time is left, could that be considered a tactical foul?
Which I would have given a caution for if I felt that.
Well, I know, but because it is college, not FIFA, and how much time is in the clock, even more so, can that be considered a tactical foul?
Sure, you can use that to your advantage as a reason to stop the clock. I lost my train of thought.
So, no, we talked about it. We talked about it for a long time. And he had conversations and with 3 other people, and we're going in all different directions.
One side's gonna figure it's wrong no matter which one you choose.
But it's understanding, and I think Dr. Joe brings a super valid point, and I think that the clock maybe going back to our wrist is a good thing.
This is what I was going to say. This isn't fair to North Carolina. It's not fair for them. They got fouled at the end of the match, and we're going to let time run out. That's not fair. So in hindsight, we have to figure out ways to be fair to the game. Okay? Within the rules. We have to do it within the rules. So when I say I can't catch a break, because this similar situation happened to me in 2015 on the final, and it's the only 2 times it's ever happened to me. So I can't catch a break. Okay? So, but I hope everybody had a little bit of take home on that clip, because it's about, one, me being able to explain, doing some analysis, and having you guys get some insight on the thought process, what was going through my head with it.
And it wasn't easy asking me to put the clip up, right? I know that this was going to be but he wanted the clip up because it needs to be talked about. So thanks Lance for.
It's not a big deal.